How's it going, everybody? I'd like to welcome everybody back tonight. 2 days in a row. This is some kind of a record for me lately. Hi. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah, you can adapt it to, oh, Ireland. Awesome. Yeah, you can adapt it to whatever chords you're using. Like, so with this, I'm doing this E minor 7. So I'm trying to hit like the notes that are, that are going to complement them. So I'm just playing out of, the notes from the Mixolydian, or the Mixolydian mode shape, or the 5th degree of the major scale, whichever way you want to look at it. That's not what we're going to be going over tonight, though. That was just something I was just playing. But if that's something that you guys would like to learn, we could certainly do that. So, do I have any of my regulars here tonight? Anybody here that's here for the first time? And anybody here from last night? Because if you were here last night, then you've already heard some of this stuff. But oh, hi, Rick. Jersey, yeah, of course. Paul? Great. Well, last night I showed you guys just a couple of, riffs that are just favorites of mine to play. Hi, Oscar. And then I showed, and I had the tabs for that and everything. But then I showed you how they inspired me to make these other licks, and I played them, but we didn't really go over them or anything and stuff. So I tabbed those out, and I thought we could go over those tonight. And just like it says in the title, it's because they're both based out of the pentatonic minor scale, but they incorporate both the major and the minor third. So I just think gives it kind of an interesting sound. So anyhow, there is a link in the description, and apparently there's also a link in I guess it's the first comment in the live chat is a link too. Or anyway, you can download the tabs for these licks that we're going to be going over. Oh yeah, I remember you, Cyborg. I'm just going to call you that because it's too hard to say what it probably actually says. Yeah, I remember you from last night. Welcome back. All right. So if you want to, like I said, there's a link in the description. If it's not there, there is one in the live chat where you can download the tabs for these two licks that we're going to be going over. So what's nice about both of these is that they're movable. You don't have to, oh crap, that isn't going to work with this. Oh, there we go. Trying to figure out how to zoom this thing on my computer. Oh, there we go. It isn't using any open strings, so they're all based out of just the box pattern of the pentatonic scale that I'm sure you already know. If you don't, really quickly, like here, it would be in the key of A. It would start here on the 5th fret because that's an A. So you have a step and a half, and then a whole step, whole step, whole step, step and a half, step and a half. Or 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, 5/7, 5/8, 5/8, and then that shape could just be moved towards. So whatever the first note you're playing is on your low E string, that's what key it is. So this first lick that we're going to look at is in B minor. So it's based starting here on the 7th fret of your low E string. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking at the tab. I have a tendency sometimes to, when I play something, I'll make a little alteration to it and not really think anything about it. And I don't want it to be differ from the tab. So I'm just checking to make sure. All right, cool. All right, so one of the things too I was going to tell you about for those of you that that may not understand this. So when I say that these licks contain both the major third and the minor third, if we look at the pentatonic scale and you just count the notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when you get here, you're just back to the same note again that you started on. There's just 5 notes in the pentatonic scale. Even though this note is the second note of the pentatonic scale, it's actually the third note of the major scale, is the way I always like to look at it. So if you look at your major scale, this is your major third. You flatten it and it becomes minor, like in a natural minor scale. So anyhow, that note naturally in the minor pentatonic scale is minor, but if you raise it a half step, then it's the major third, and it's kind of a cool thing you can do. You can mix together. It kind of you can make blues licks have more of kind of like a country kind of a sound to them, or southern rock, like a major pentatonic kind of a feel to it. So for this one here, like I said, it's based out of this pattern starting here on B. So the first note here, we're on the 7th fret of the G string. And normally when you play the note, you'd use your first finger, but we're going to use our second finger because we're going to slide up to that major third. And then take your first finger and just bring it up, so you're going to be barring it across the 7th fret of the B and the high E string. Just like that. So that minor third sliding into that major third. All right, I'm just paranoid that like I said, that I tapped out something different. Low E, I'm referring to the low E string. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna come to the 10th fret on the B string, and we're gonna pick this, and we're gonna do a bend. And we want to bend and release. Now, another thing that this one has in it too that that I didn't say like in the description or anything is that it also has some other passing tones. It has like this big chromatic section in it that I think kind of sounds cool. I don't know if I played it in the first place before I started, but the whole thing is. Or, that's the lick. So we do that pick and slide, drop. Then we come up here to 10, do the bend and release. And then we're back here to back to the 7th fret on the B string. Then we're going to come up to the 10th fret on the G string. So here, this is our one of the passing tones, but this is actually the blue note. Now this is kind of awkward here. We come up here onto the 10th fret with your 3rd finger. Then we're going to go to the 9th fret. It's on the G string with your 2nd finger. And then you're going to take your 3rd finger and you're going to move it up here on top of your 2nd finger and drop it onto the 9th fret of the D string. So it's kind of, it's really kind of awkward at first. But, you know, once you get used to it, it's not too bad. But it is a little bit awkward at first. And then from there, we're going to go back to our minor 3rd again on the 7th fret of the G string and pick that and do a hammer onto our major 3rd. And then drop to this. It's like the F, if you know, like your open position F chord. We're just moving it all the way up here. So we got our 3rd finger here on the 9th fret of the D string, 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the G, and then 1st finger barring the 7th fret. So it's making a B major, and it just makes it resolve. So it's got that total major pentatonic thing to it. And that was the one that I said that I felt like I took a lot of inspiration from it just kind of, you know, has some elements in it that remind me of that. And so does the second one too, but it's a little bit different. So yeah, so anyway, that's the first one, the one that I like I said, I played them last night and I kind of talked a little about it, but we didn't really go over it. And there was a little bit of interest in it, so I figured, you know, why not? All right, so does anybody have any questions about that or anything, and for that matter, just, you know, it's a Q&A. I really enjoyed it last night when it was just a thing. It was just kind of chill, and we were just chatting and stuff about guitar. So all right, well, if nobody has any questions or anything, then we can just move right along. Yeah, and we do, we do, Jersey, we do, we've done easier stuff, strummy songs and stuff. I just doing this was just kind of a little bit of like a continuation from what we were doing last night. All right, let's see, so. Okay. Again, just checking my my own tabs. All right, so this is the second example. This one is in E minor, still based out of that same first pattern. And again, it's movable. This one does have open string part in it, but I'll show you how to make it if you change keys where you have to fret the note. All right. So with this one here, we start off, I think I have it as a slide from nowhere. Yeah. So we got a slide from nowhere to the 14th fret on the D string. And then we go from there, we go to the 12th fret on the G string. And then back. Then you're going to come to the 14th fret on the G string, and we're going to do a bend. Well, you'll just have to see when we do it. It's it can be a little tricky if you're a beginner. So we're going to bend this up, and we're going to hold that bend. And while we're holding it, you're going to take your pinky and you're going to bar the 15th fret of the high E in the B string. So I pick that E, B, and then I pick the G string again, and then release that bend. So you get that interval, those different intervals between the bends. So it's like a kind of like a pedal steel kind of sounding thing. You know, it's like really, that's what it reminds me of, that country pedal steel sound. And I don't know, I just think it sounds pretty cool. And that I kind of feel like kind of came from that other one, that Kiss one that I showed you yesterday. All right, so after you release that bend, you go back to the 12th fret on the G string, back to the 14th fret on the D string, and then you roll that third finger up so you can pick up the 14th fret of the G string. So now the reason you don't want to just lay your finger down, because then the notes are going to ring out over each other. Not that you can't do that or that doesn't sound good, but for what I wanted those notes to be separate. So if you want them to be separate, all I'm doing is I'm rolling my finger across. So I end up fretting the G string like pretty low down, deep into my fingertip. So that way the top part of my finger pad here mutes the previous string. So that way you get like a nice clean precision between the two. Now we come back to here. Now we're going to go up to the 12th fret. So just like in that last lick, this is our minor third. And I do a hammer on into the major third, and then back to this note again, which is an E, so it makes it resolve. Now, on the tabs for this, if you're looking at them now and you know how to like count stuff, you might already be noticing that some of the way that it's tabbed in the counting isn't matching up exactly the way that I'm playing it, because I play it differently all the time. And so that's one of the things that you can take out of this, is that you can take the same lick and you know, like if you learn a lick that you from another song that you like, or you make something up or whatever the case may be, and maybe you do it in the key of A minor over a particular backing track. Well, you can take that same lick and just play it over a backing track that's maybe in, B flat minor, and it's a different tempo and it's kind of a different style of music. You can still take that same thing and just kind of adapt it. So when I'm playing this, sometimes it's whatever backing track I can hear in my head that is influencing me as to how I play it. All right, so that's like, if you think about it, this would be like the first half of this lick. The second half of it is different. So like this is like the first phrase of the lick, maybe. Whoops. All right. So does anybody have any questions about that? What we've got on that thus far? Or just, like I said, any guitar questions in general. It doesn't have to be about what we're talking about. It usually ends up the whole conversation usually ends up getting steered in a different direction from questions and stuff, and so it's kind of makes it interesting anyway. How about some of the licks you've put up? That I've put up where? I'm not sure what you mean. All right. Well, I guess we can move along then. Oh, the short videos on there they're just like a close up of the guitar and a lick. That's not me. That's Silvio. I haven't done any of those shorts. Okay, so what we went over then is actually that's just the first two measures. Then starting on the third measure, we've got well, actually, here's another example of like something that influenced me. I showed you guys a while back a pentatonic lick that it's like I said it's like the most common one. It's a section from that. So if you've been around, you might remember that. Okay, I'm still not understanding. I have not done any short videos on the channel. That's somebody else. Oh, you're not talking about the ones that like where I like, show 3 licks by so and so or 3 licks by so and so. That series of YouTube videos. Is that what you mean? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I could do that. I mean, it seems kind of redundant if there's already a video up for it, but yeah, maybe like a best of or something like that. All right. So anyhow, yeah, like I said, it's based off of that lick. So since we ended with our third finger here on the 14th fret of the D string, now I'm going to take my first finger and move it to the 12th fret. I'm going to pick and pull, and then go to the 14th fret of the A string, and then back to the 12th fret of the D string. Now that's like half of that measure. Then we go back to the 14th fret, then to the 13th with your second finger, and then 12 with your first finger. So it's got another little chromatic passage there, like the other one did. Now, when we get to, after we get to 12, we slide down to the 10th fret. So. Now, once we slide down to the 10th fret, there's a couple of variations that I've got on this that, depending upon what it is that you want to do. If you want it to just be a quick lick that maybe, you know, just goes over a particular section of a song, or it's like kind of a bridge to hook two different licks together or something like that. But if you want it to be kind of longer, or maybe it be the end of like a 12 bar or something like that, when you're at the very end of it, like where there would be a retard sometimes in the music. So I've got a version for that. And so it's kind of weird when you're looking at this on the tab. So the first three measures is just now, when you see the fourth measure on there, it shows that you go to the 12th fret with on the low E string with your third finger, back to that 10th fret on the A string, and then a hammer on to the 11th fret on the A string. So, and then your pinky all the way up to the 14th fret on the D string, and then the open low E string. So it's like, now that's a way just to kind of have it be short and just kind of resolve there. So when I said earlier that has an open string, and I said that you can change it, so all it would be in this case is the 12th fret. So if you just remember that it's whatever key you're in when you do this, it's the next fret, but on the lower string, on the low E string. But I just kind of like with the open low E string like that. I think that sounds nice. So, hi Oscar. So do you mean like the stuff like that, or like? I'm not 100. I want to make sure I understand, you know, what it is that you're talking about. Yeah. So an alternative way that you can make this and kind of extend it out is that you skip that fourth measure and you go right to the fifth measure on the second staff, because it's the way it is on the transcription, it kind of gives the impression, it looks like it's a separate lick, and I guess it kind of is. It's just like an alternative ending. So for this one, you'd have the and then instead of doing that, you just do the hammer on right now from that 10 to 14, and then you're going to take the 11 on the A string and slide it to 12, followed by 14 on the D string again. Now you do it again from 12 to 13, and then now backwards, 13 to 12, and then 12, 10. You go to 12 and then back to the 10 and hammer to 11. Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. So it just kind of gives it a longer, so this would be like the end of the song. Like right, so those are the two licks that I prepared. I wanted to show you guys. So we got plenty of time for other questions and stuff. So if you have any questions about what I just went over, or I know the last part I kind of went over it kind of quick. So if I wasn't thorough enough in the explanation, just let me know and we can keep talking about it. Yeah. So to answer your question, Oscar, if I have my hand on the bridge, it's because I'm trying to keep the other strings muted. But as far as the actual technique here, all I'm doing is releasing the pressure with my finger. So I'm touching both of the strings, or actually in this case, 3 strings. I'm touching them, but I'm just not, it's just enough. So when I pick, it just makes that, that clicking sound. Oh, thank you, Winslow. Now, like on in this case here, since I'm not just focusing on just a couple of strings, I'm playing basically, all 6. All I do here is I just release the pressure of the entire chord. So now it's muted. You keep hearing that. It's because I'm actually pressing just hard enough to fret that note. So that's why you got to really kind of get that, find that finesse there to be able to do it. Oh, no problem. No problem. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or anything? Hello. Yeah. Do I pronounce it Yasser? Yasser? I'm terrible with this stuff. And thank you for tuning in. You missed the first, the main meat and potatoes of what we were going to talk about, but there'll be the rerun you can watch. But in the meantime, there's a link where you can get the tabs for what we went over. It's crazy how different it is from one day to the next. Yesterday, it was like everybody was really, interactive and talking and stuff. And today it's like church in here. Sipping on vodka. I don't have any vodka, but I do have some Crown Royal that I'm going to be sipping on here in a minute. I like the Canadian stuff better than bourbon. I mean, some bourbon I like, but for the most part, I like the Canadians. Oh, you're all good, Chris. Huh. Yeah, apparently Michael Cussman doesn't like me. How will I ever be able to sleep tonight? Um, yeah, my guitars, yeah, not. I don't have as much need for that anymore. But when I was actively playing out, uh, I would always bring. We have songs that are in. Well, we do everything. We're just tuned down a half step, and then we have some songs that are in drop D, and so I'd have to have one for each, and then a backup, and then uh, I've got like a couple of ones with like open tuning, and and then some that are just in standard tuning, and or a whole step down. But I don't even really need as much as I have. I even downsize more. I might sell some more. Jersey, if you're asking me if I have a PRS, no, I do not. I've never had one. Uh, Winslow. Also, and just so you are aware, I'm not Guitar Control. I just working on their. I just work at it for them, so I'm on their channel. But my name's Darren. This isn't my channel. But I've been playing since I was um, about 13. So yeah, I've been playing for for over 30 years. I feel like for the amount of years that I've been playing, I should be a lot better than I am. But the first few years wasn't a whole lot of progress. All right. Well, if nobody really has any questions or anything, then I think that we can call it a night. But I appreciate everybody that came out, and be sure to get the tabs for the licks that I showed you guys tonight. And I would also like to say that I hope that it isn't a thing that anybody ever thinks that I'm like, oh, here I'm showing you my looks because I'm so cool. It's really nothing like that. My whole idea behind that is I wanted to be able to show you the association of how I came up with that from being inspired by something else. So hopefully you could do the same thing. Oh, you're welcome, Steve. I appreciate the support. Yeah, so if you like what I'm doing, be sure to hit the the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel and all that, all the yada yada normal stuff that everybody says. But it just helps to show them that I'm doing a good job and you're digging the material that I'm doing. What is it that elevated my playing from? You mean from what I was saying about how it was slow at first? Well, the big part of the problem with it being slow at first is that the first, this is obviously before YouTube and the internet and stuff. And the first lessons I took were actually in school. They were group lessons. So it was like me and, 30 other kids. And it was just painfully slow. And not that I was like excelling or anything, but I mean, it was just really, really slow. And then I got a private instructor that he didn't give me bad information or anything. I just think he was kind of unorganized on how to teach. And then a lot of it was just pure laziness on my part because, I was a kid. But then when I got a little bit older and I started, when I was like 15 and I started jamming with other guitar players or a drummer or something, that really pushed me to like, okay, I've got to get a lot better if I'm going to play in a band, kind of a thing. So that kind of inspired me to go. And then um, in like my junior year of high school, I met a guy I've been friends with ever since, who's an incredible guitar player, and we played together in a band for a couple of years, and he really pushed me hard, to really, to go beyond what I ever thought I would do. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'll keep going as long as I can. uh, Dan Barrett, do you recommend getting lessons, or do you think you can learn from YouTube, etc.? Okay, that's a really good question. So this is just my opinion, and I will rank my choices of what I think is the best way to go. So number one, private lessons. Hands down, there is no better way to learn how to play than sitting down with somebody that's physically in the room with you and that can, show you how to do stuff, if it's a good, qualified teacher. And then next, if you can't do in person, then one's, like this, except like an actual private one. Like I do online lessons over Google Meet, and I started doing that when the scamdemic started, and so I had to start doing that because I couldn't have people coming to the house, and I was really skeptical of it at first. I was like, man, is this even going to work? But it ended up working really well. I've had a couple of people who they actually started that way. I mean, their very first lesson, their first time even learning how to hold a guitar was online, over a web camera with me, and they can play well now, so it does work. Because even then they can see and say, yeah, you need to do this or you need to do that. And then after that, I would say instructional videos, especially ones that are, there's lots of really amazing YouTube lessons, but ones that are like a really good a good production, well put together, planned out course, that, whether it be a DVD or just a download or whatever. Because then you can pause, you can rewind, you can focus in on different stuff. Now you don't get the feedback from somebody being able to say, oh, you just need to turn your wrist a little bit or whatever. But like in my instructional stuff like that, I explain around that, like, explain that it's not, not everybody's not going to, their hand position isn't going to look the same. Everybody's different. I've had some bad teachers, so if they aren't good, run. Yeah, and it's really weird with finding. Will I be in Florida anytime soon? Probably not. I really want to move from here. I like it here. I mean, I like the beautiful outdoor stuff, but I'm tired of the winter. And Florida got nice weather, and they also have pretty lax laws on, so I can mod my car without getting in trouble for it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can move down there. That'd be awesome. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. But learning stuff from YouTube. I mean, there's lots of good stuff, but for every great instructional clip on YouTube, there's 100 of them that are bad. And I don't mean bad like it's people like, ooh, I'm going to teach people that this is actually the G chord. No, I don't mean that. I mean where they might be demonstrating to do something with just like a bad technique that in a sense is going to cause you to practice a mistake. I've had a lot of students before that were self-taught from various resources, and some of them came in and did well, and other ones came in and it was really hard to fix a lot of the crazy bad habits that they had. And that's just from not where you don't get that feedback of being told, hey, do this or do that. Yeah, Chris, there's a good guitar teacher is, they're invaluable. So like I said, the first guitar teacher I had the first private teacher, he was, he was a musician, he played in bands and he taught and did basically everything that like I do now, except nothing online because there was no internet. But he was a good player and I learned a lot from him, but it was just unorganized. And then a lot of things that I had to learn that I still to this day don't understand what the point behind it was. But then I got this other guy who was just freaking fantastic. And I took lessons from him for like, 3 or 4 months or something. And then he moved out of state. And he was just great. I learned a lot from him. That's who I learned, well, not during lessons. When I was done, he gave me a big stack of papers, and some of it was like the 3-note string scales, and things like that. But he was a great teacher. Learned a lot of stuff about chords and things from him that instead of just learning shapes like chord theory and stuff, he was a great teacher. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. Tim Taylor, are you Tim the Toolman Taylor? If you put a supercharger on the truck, sorry, I couldn't resist. But yeah, I feel your pain. It's the same crap here. I have a WRX, an old one, and they're just basically taking all the fun out of everything. First time today you heard that? Oh, I'm sure. I'll bet it's the first time you've heard it today. I couldn't resist. I mean, what are the odds? Come on. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming out. It's really weird. I'm starting to feel like that maybe at the time we're starting, it seems like we're halfway through before a lot of people start coming. So I'm wondering if maybe we ought to change the time or something. I don't know. What was the first song I had to learn to play? Well, if you count, you know, if you count stuff like that, then probably that. But if you're counting like an actual real, you know, like song or whatever, uh, I'm trying to remember which one it was first, because that was the other thing too, is that when I was taking lessons from that first guy, I just really wanted to be able to play Motley Crue. That was like my big goal. It was like, if I could just play Motley Crue, if I could just play Shout at the Devil. And he made me learn a bunch of songs that it was so far from what I wanted to do. I was kind of ticked, but looking back on it now, I can see the reasoning for it, because a lot of them actually, they were great exercises for techniques and stuff. So one of them was the Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams. And then the other one was, You Belong to the City. I think it was Don Henley that did that. It was like on the Miami Vice TV show. And it was all basically just for the rhythm stuff and the chords. And those are the first ones I can remember. But then like the first thing that I ever learned that I actually wanted to be able to play and was all excited that I learned was Iron Man. Hi, Dan. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I have to check. I mean, some of it is also just with my schedule that when we're done here, it's I'm already, it's already getting where I don't want to be doing anything. I just want to be kind of chilling. So I'm not sure about how much later I'd want to do it. And it also has to do with they choose the times based off of, some algorithm crap or whatever. So I don't know. House of the Rising Sun. Yeah, that one's not just the chords, it's the rhythm for it is so weird. Yeah, that's one of the songs that I like actually use with teaching, is because it's a good learning song. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. And I plan to be back next Tuesday. And if there is a time change just plan on it just to be the same time that it's been, which I'm not good with remembering what the time zones are. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern is what time. I think it's almost 8 p.m. Eastern right now, I think. Anyway, yeah, I plan on being here on Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. Again, thanks everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it. Like I said, this is when I got done last night, I was just like, I was pumped. I mean, it was like I had a good time last night. Oh, I'm glad you could make it too, Chris. And you're welcome. I appreciate it. All right, so I hope to see y'all's little icons down tomorrow, Tuesday. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you then.